Cryptotrader is proudly brought to you by eToro. Discover a simpler way to trade and invest in cryptocurrencies and more.
Coverage of New York Blockchain Week is brought to you by Algos, providing your crypto assets with endless liquidity.
You know, you'll never see me wearing a branded shirt, and certainly not one that's branded with a cryptocurrency. But today, I'm going to the magical crypto conference, so I thought I'd wear my Bitcoin shirt.
You heard right. This is, quote, magical crypto conference, the unconference conference. For anyone new to Cryptotrader, this may not be for you. This is close to satire, a parody of the routine traditional conference circuit. I mean, just check out the trailer for the conference.
That type of power.
Yes, Satoshi's vision, a real cypherpunk OG conference with a real twist, and maybe some access to grind, against maybe the institutionalization of crypto, or Wall Street's encroachment, or maybe a certain one out there purporting to be Satoshi. In fact, to open the show, the organizers, some real OGs themselves, came out to feature their cartoon characters in full avatar, and a kangaroo called Fake Panda.
Whoa. Who are you and what are you doing in our house?
What? I'm Whale Panda, of course.
You're not Whale Panda. You're a kangaroo.
Why, of course I'm Whale Panda. I've got the papers to prove it.
Whoa, what's going on here?
I'm Whale Panda, and I just want to be left alone to eat in peace.
And you're not Whale Panda?
How dare you? Do you know that I'm a mathematician, cryptographer, computer scientist, proctologist, and lawyer?
Hey, I found Panda tied up in a closet.
This kangaroo jumped me and knocked me out.
Ha! Piss off!
Magical was organized by these four guys, mascots. Ricardo Spagni, aka Fluffy Pony, who was actually a robot at the conference. Charlie Lee from Litecoin, Samson Mao from Blockstream, represented by a lion, and a whale panda. All, of course, against a kangaroo.
One of us goes. Which do you choose?
Yeah, you really need to leave now.
Well then, you can't seem to recognize genius when it's right in front of you.
We'll check back with Fake Panda later to see how this all ends.
I'm going to take my wheelbarrow and leave.
Back at the conference, the price action has shot up, then pulled back, and now some sideways action around the upper 7,000s and 8,000. We wanted to get a sense of the sentiment.
So no kidding, there actually is a bull here, and that's probably the biggest sign that we're in a bull market. Let's go take a look. So, do you think we're in a bull market? And what do you think the price of Bitcoin is going to be next week? No way. I thought it was going to be much higher. So we found a bull. It's thin, but it's a bull. Let's go see if there are any bears here. Are you guys bullish or bearish?
Bullish, of course bullish.
Bullish, bearish?
Absolutely bullish.
So these are the guys from eToro, and obviously they're bullish. Let's carry on. Are you guys bullish or bearish?
Right now, pretty dang bullish.
When did you become bullish?
About 2016.
I'm very bullish right now, and after the tether factor, that's when I really stepped it up a notch. But for the industry, it's getting the negative players out, and I like that.
Joe, bullish or bearish?
Bullish, definitely, since 2010.
No bears here. Let's carry on. We'll find the bears. Are you bullish or bearish?
What do you think?
I think you're bullish on the US dollar.
Yeah.
Are you bullish or bearish?
Bullish, 100%.
There's not a single bear in this whole room, but we'll keep looking.
All right.
Bullish or bearish?
Cautiously optimistic. Short-term bullish, medium-term bearish, long-term bullish.
Let's carry on. Gentlemen, are we bullish or bearish?
Certainly bullish on Bitcoin.
Yes, I'm bullish as hell on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone's the bull here. So are you bullish or bearish?
Bullish. I'm always bullish.
Bullish or bearish?
Just hodling. I don't know.
Bitcoin or alts?
A little bit of both.
Bitcoin or alts?
Bitcoin.
Gentlemen, Bitcoin or altcoins?
Bitcoin, only Bitcoin.
Monero. The more zeros you have in your net worth, you'll be more worried about your privacy.
So we couldn't find any bears, but we did find a lion. Are you bullish or bearish? I guess that means he's a bullish lion.
Well, the ultimate permeable and someone who says Bitcoin will go to 100k is the magician Max Kaiser.
I'll do this for your audience, Rand. Okay, this will be for your audience. Look at that, back. It's incredible.
Did you get that? Hold on.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, let's do it again. Sorry.
I hijacked the show.
Okay, do it again.
That's right. Little brother, that. Oh, go on. Oh, there it is. Oh, voila.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Mr. Max Kaiser, the magician.
That's my first job, was doing street magic in Times Square.
Seriously?
When I was 16 years old.
I don't know whether to take you seriously.
No, that's true. I used to come in from the suburbs. And they had the matinees that would have a break during the show on Broadway's. And I would do my show, for 20 minutes, 30 minutes and make $300.
There I was thinking you were a TV guy and a fund management guy. Now you're a magician as well.
I started out as a magician. That's my first job, yeah.
Max, so we're here at the Magical Crypto Conference. It's very much a Tron-centered conference, and everyone here is talking about Tron. What do you think about Tron?
That's false, Rand. You're slipping in Tron into it as a Bitcoin conference. See, that's the devil. That's the devil speaking. You and your altcoins, Rand, you should be ashamed of yourself for bringing that into this conference. Take this man out. Security! Security!
Max, let's talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going through the roof. I saw that on Twitter.
Yeah.
You started to make price predictions again. I mean, you're talking
I never stopped making price predictions, Rand. In 2011, while you were still hunting zebras down there in South Africa, I said it was going to $100,000. It was only $1. And I said that all publicly, many, many places. It's still going to $100,000. What are you missing?
I know it's going to $100,000. I just don't know when it's going to $100,000.
Why do you care? You've been in this business a long time, Rand. You know that if anything is going to go from 5,000 to 100,000, the timing is immaterial. It's still going to outperform every asset you can possibly imagine owning over the next 5, 10, 15 years. Forget about timing. Timing is for people who think that I'm going to wait and buy it at a better price. And that is a bad way to approach crypto. Stack Satoshis, stack sats. Every day stack sats. If you bought your mom a Mother's Day gift, that was a waste of money. You should have been stacking sats.
Okay, now what caused this pump that happened in the last few days over New York Blockchain Week?
Okay. Why are we having a rally now?
Yeah.
I think that it goes back to a few weeks ago when the Federal Reserve Bank, they came out with a statement saying they're moving their policy to permanent quantitative easing. Okay, permanent quantitative easing means money printing without end. As you know, Bitcoin is hard money, like gold. It's going to respond well to an environment of hyperinflation and hyper money printing. And when the Fed made that statement, I said that, this is probably the bottom now, because the market is going to start to discount Bitcoin as hard money. You've got the halving coming up in a year or so. So the mining supply is shrinking. The scarcity aspect of the protocol is kicking in a big way. And it just got seller exhaustion. Markets, when they hit a point where there's just no more sellers, you run out of sellers, and then all you need is a few buyers, and you got the rally starts to pick up, and it builds momentum.
And especially when the asset is so scarce and you can't print anymore.
So we're Bitcoin folks. Those are my glasses. And now what we're doing this year is Lightning. We're going to focus on Lightning. And layer 2, Bitcoin has proven itself as a store of value. Now it moves into medium of exchange before it moves into unit of account. And let me ask you this. Did you see the testimony by Representative Brad Sherman last week in Congress? He came out and said we should ban cryptocurrencies, we should ban Bitcoin because it's a threat to the dollar, and it's a threat to our sovereignty as a nation, and it's a threat to our oil monopoly. He said that publicly.
That's like an advert for Bitcoin.
Totally. It's not a place you want to be.
Max Kaiser, it's always good to have you on the show. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
So that was Max Kaiser in response to Congressman Brad Sherman's criticism. With his own critique was another former US lawmaker who our contributor Lindsay Jew spoke to at Consensus, Dr. Ron Paul, who'd fit in right here.
one of the things that's on everyone's mind is Brad Sherman's recent comments. Let's take a listen.
I look for colleagues to join with me in introducing a bill to outlaw cryptocurrency purchases by Americans so that we nip this in the bud.
What are your thoughts there?
Well, maybe he's sincere, but I'm sincere too that I don't trust the government to do it. He's using it as a justification for regulation. You know, because somebody might steal. You can't assume somebody might do something, therefore you have to preempt them.
What would, in an ideal world, what do you think a regulation could look like in order for us to allow Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as a traded asset in the U.S.?
The only regulation or talk of regulation should be to reduce any obstacles so that people who have new technology like cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology should have the freedom to develop it without anybody obstructing them. There shouldn't be any rules to say that well, we have to take care of everybody. Everybody has to have a chance. The companies that aren't doing well, we have to help them. The companies that do too well, we have to bail them out. I don't like those kind of regulation. Look, I'd much rather see the least amount of regulation and taxation as possible.
And is that what you like about decentralized currency, is that it's taking it out of the hands of government and regulators and it's putting it in the hands of the people? It's a decentralized asset.
There you go. That's what would develop in a free market.
Cheers to the free market. Cheers to Dr. Paul. And cheers to taking a break. Welcome back to the Magical Crypto Conference, where everyone seems pretty bullish. And yes, they actually had a bull here. Not so bullish on alts is Melton Demiris, proclaiming they all belong well in her stage prop, as she went ham on protocol fever, a true Bitcoin maximalist.
You look at Bitcoin, you look at Ethereum, you look at Ripple, all of these things are just pumping like crazy. Everyone's making money. Everyone's like, oh my god, I'm a genius. That protocols is it. We're going to be so rich.
Melton, it's not every day that you go to a conference and the speaker has her own toilet on stage. What's the toilet?
Well, I wanted to have a toilet because I have all of these coins, you see. So do you want to try one?
I'd love one.
They're actually made out of chocolate. You know.
This one says XRP. I mean.
And so what we started doing is just throwing money at protocols. So I have my coin toilet. I have coins. So everyone's going to be really rich. We're going to have the fattest protocols ever.
Tell me about the story behind it.
Sure. So look, Magical Crypto Conference is all about the culture of Bitcoin, the culture of cryptocurrencies, mostly Bitcoin, I think. And what I thought would be really great, since so much of the Bitcoin culture is about memes, but you know, there are a lot of protocols that really struggle to find meaning once the ICO is over. We've seen a lot of these projects collapse because they run out of money due to poor financial management, no traction, and just a complete inability from teams to deliver. So I was like, okay, since this is a meme conference, I'm gonna bring chocolate coins, and why not put them in a toilet?
All right, we're all really rich. Yay! Woo! Protocols!
So you spoke about $8.6 billion being raised for protocols last year.
Well, so 8.6 billion went into the top 10 ICOs. The largest of which was EOS with 4 billion of that. Actually, over the last 3 years, over 30 billion has gone into protocols, which is a lot.
So we've got this protocol addiction, this insatiable protocol fetish. What's going on?
Well, I think a lot of it is people always talk about all of the issues with Bitcoin, right? Only 7 transactions per second, doesn't scale, it's too slow, it's too expensive. Like, people try to identify all these issues that made Bitcoin really hard to build with, and started designing all these protocols that attempted to solve some of these problems they believed Bitcoin had. And in fact, I think people are starting to realize when you build protocols, you start with the simplest thing. Bitcoin does one thing, but it does it really well. And what we've seen over the last now almost 11 years of Bitcoin, as time goes on and the Bitcoin network gets more secure and grows and we learn more about it, we're able to add these features, right? So scalability is happening at the second layer via Lightning. We now have privacy via things like Taproot, CoinJoins, and other innovations. And so again, I think a lot of these protocols raised on this premise of like, oh, we're gonna kill Bitcoin because we have all these features that make us better than Bitcoin, not realizing it took 10 years for Bitcoin to get where it is, and Bitcoin's simple. It's simple and very elegant, and it's very hard to replicate Bitcoin.
It's simple and elegant, but yet it's the fattest protocol out there.
It is. $120 billion as of today. And look, the value of the network itself isn't what I think about. Obviously, as an investor, I never say like, oh, price is unimportant. Yeah, price really matters. It does. But what I think is so cool about Bitcoin, this is what I talked about, is the community and the culture around Bitcoin. The fact that on Mother's Day on a Sunday, there are hundreds of people inside in Manhattan talking about Bitcoin is a testament to the fact that there's this really strong value-driven culture around Bitcoin that brings together so many volunteers.
Does that mean that you're a maximalist? Does that mean that you believe that at the end of the day, there's only going to be one protocol and it's going to be Bitcoin?
No, so look, I don't believe that. I think Bitcoin, what it does is really important, and right now Bitcoin is the thing I understand best because it's what I've spent the most time on. I have invested personally and through the funds at CoinShares in other protocols. By no means do I think other protocols have no value, but I think again, it's just understanding what unique feature they have that Bitcoin doesn't. And at the end of the day, to your point, I think the hard part is if the incentive for people to participate in these other protocols is money, financing, grants, like that's going to be very difficult to grow and scale. Ethereum actually, I think, has done a good job building a community. What we see now though with Ethereum 4 years in is they're having a lot of the challenges Bitcoin's had for the last few years, different visions of what the culture is, what the value proposition is, and it's creating, tension in the community. And maybe people will fork and, create different communities, but the Bitcoin community has forked a number of times, yet here we are, right? Most of the forks have kind of splintered off and they're doing their own thing, and Bitcoin's still what people want to spend time on.
And that's why today it's the fattest protocol.
Melton,
it's been amazing having you.
I have these for you.
Thank you. I've got a whole lot. Thank you very much.
This is humor. This is intended to be humorous.
It's intended to be humorous, but there's a very serious side to all these coins.
Again, to remind everyone, there's a layer of humor here. In fact, this is a conference where if you took all the memes of crypto, this is what you get. And look no further than one actual conference organizer, Fluffy Pony, wheeling around as an actual robot.
So we continue our coverage from the magical crypto conference, and with me I have Fluffy Pony all the way from South Africa. Fluffy, how are you enjoying the conference?
Well, it's my first time attending a conference as a robot, which is equal parts interesting and fun.
So Fluffy, you're here, but you're actually sitting in South Africa, at your house in South Africa. Are you getting like a real conference experience here?
So there are a couple of challenges with being a robot at a conference. People struggle to hear me because of the background noise. But beyond that, the fact that I can walk around by myself and go and see things and interact with people is amazing.
Fluffy, have you been watching this market price action? Are you surprised by the price action of the market?
We had a bull run at some point in 2017, and the running joke was that it was because of Blockchain Week and the attention that it brings to Bitcoin. I'm hesitant that we'll be able to hold it, but it's interesting to watch it out.
So you don't believe that we're going to be able to hold this price? What makes you such a skeptic? Was it possibly the bear market?
The previous bear markets have been pretty long and lame. So I guess it's natural skepticism that we'll be able to get out of the bear market this quickly.
Now, Fluffy, I've got a question for you as one of the organizers of the show. I was expecting to see Dr. Craig right here. I mean, after all, he was the creator of Bitcoin. Is there a reason why you guys left him off the speaker list?
There must have been an oversight.
I thought he may be one of the characters in the magical crypto conference,
Well, if you watch the magical crypto conference we released yesterday, there's a kangaroo, which, may or may not be Craig Wright's apparently.
Fluffy, it's been a great pleasure as always, and I'll leave you to go. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to kidnap you. I'm going to take you home.
So while I step out with Fluffy, let's turn to Lindsay Drew for a more serious look at who's here and what they're saying. Starting with Laura Shin from her Unchained podcast.
This particular conference, Magical CryptoCon, how do you think it's different from what else you'll see this week?
This one is probably a little bit more political than the others, I think. But I think in general, that's something that we know has fueled Bitcoin's rise, is kind of like this ideological element. And I think we're already seeing that maybe a little bit in the programming.
How is this conference different than most conferences?
I would say it's definitely different from the consensus one, but this is much more kind of grassroots kind of approach. You got all the hardcore crypto people here versus consensus. You got all the investment people.
How's today's conference?
I really like this conference. This kind of conference, which are not bull and more about Bitcoin, I like them.
We're here, you could tell like it's much more like just like Bitcoin orientated, more on like just on the developer side, Lightning Network, less than like, you know, I say some other conferences where it's more about like just, you know, projects trying to promote themselves.
What's in the bag?
It's a bag of altcoins, actually.
Apparently heavy.
Very heavy.
And what's going on in the market right now?
I care more about, are people really using the technology? Is it really improving a user's experience or solving a business problem? I think that bear markets are actually really good for startups in any given space because it really focuses people on building real businesses that solve real user problems somewhere in some industry. So I think that's absolutely the case.
What's this exhibit about?
My project down in Cucuta was designed to just bring awareness to what's going on in Venezuela and to help raise money for the Venezuelan people. So I had a mural project where people donated to distribute crypto and also food to refugees that were in Cucuta.
So this is the Buy Bitcoin sign and art. Tell me about it.
So these are 21 Bitcoin signs, all replicas of the sign that I photobombed Janet Yellen with. So that moment was immediately precious to Bitcoiners, and I was encouraged to make the art just so that some people could own the meme and take it home with them.
Hang it on their wall.
Exactly.
If you want to own the Bitcoin sign, go to buybitcoin.art. Now let's take one last commercial break. So now, let's get out of the confines of the conference and check in on the Satoshi treasure hunt that's happening. If you haven't heard about it, listen up, because there's $1 million worth of Bitcoin up for grabs.
I got into Bitcoin in 2012 when Bitcoin was a lot weirder.
If you want to win $1 million worth of Bitcoin, listen up, because this next guest is going to tell you how you can win $1 million worth of Bitcoin. Eric, how do I win $1 million worth of Bitcoin?
So you're going to have to go around the world and solve a bunch of very difficult puzzles, probably with a team. And if you can find 400 of the 1,000 keys we've split this Bitcoin into, you'll be able to put them together. And without our permission, you'll get the Bitcoin private key, and that Bitcoin is now yours.
Okay, so let me make sure that I understand this. There are 1,000 keys around the world, hidden in different places, online and offline. And as a team, you have to collect 400 of these keys. And as soon as you got 400 of these keys, you win $1 million worth of Bitcoin.
Yeah, so I mean, what makes Bitcoin so cool is that it is programmable money. And so what we can do with Bitcoin is we can take the private key and we can use this, actually a very old cryptographic algorithm called Shamir's secret sharing. It almost sounds like a Harry Potter spell. And like a Harry Potter spell, it does something pretty magic, which is you can take that private key and you can split it into a bunch of pieces, and you can also determine how many of those pieces you need to put it back together. And so in our case, we have 1,000 of these keys. You need 400 of them to reassemble the private key. And what's really awesome about that is I don't have to give anyone any Bitcoin. We've hidden this out there, and no one has to come to us and ask for their prize. Once they get those keys, they now own the Bitcoin.
Okay, now where are these keys hidden? I mean, online on websites, offline in coffee shops. Talk me through. I want to go and look for keys.
Totally. So all of the above. We have a website called satoshistreasure.xyz. And on the website, every couple of days, we release a clue for a new key. And then the teams go and try to find them. And some of these are really, really hard. Some of them are a little easier. Some of them are really easy.
Like, give me an example of an easy one.
I mean, so when we kicked the game off, actually, Blockstream has this really awesome satellite relay where you can send, if you pay a little bit of Bitcoin over Lightning, you can send a satellite message. And so we kicked off the hunt by sending out a satellite message that said, in these 10 geographic locations, we gave GPS coordinates, you're going to find your first key. And so all you had to do is just go show up at that place, and there was a QR code with the first key on it. And it was really amazing. I mean, so we had like our spies at each of these locations, and tons of people showed up, and they were super excited about it. We saw a lot of teams form on the spot, because people realized, I think a lot of people thought I'm going to win $1 million of Bitcoin, and then they realized, wow, this is all over the world.
But when you started this, did you start this thinking this was going to be a business? Or?
No, not at all. I mean, so again, I got, as an investor in the space, I just get so bored by where the space has kind of gone, and it went from a bunch of nerds and weirdos to a bunch of essentially finance bros.
Okay, so now if our viewers want to get involved and want to start hunting for the Bitcoin, where do they go?
Yeah, so satoshistreasure.xyz. And then they can follow us on Twitter. We're at Toshi Treasure. But the website's the best place to go because the website will have every clue, and you can follow along there. And on the website, you can sign up and get text message alerts or email alerts when a new clue comes out.
All right, so if you want to join me, I'm going to start a clan to start looking for the $1 million worth of Bitcoin. If you want to join me, get me on Twitter at CryptoManRun. Our coverage of Magical Crypto Conference continues.
But let's check in with a pulse of New York Blockchain Week at night. This is where the crypto community really gets together and sometimes down to business.
What's your vibe? Well, I think it's great. It's a great time to be here in New York. You know, Bitcoin is really on the rise.
The parties, like Itaro's at One Oak, they're all too endless to list.
What is your sense?
And really, I think we have people from all of the blockchain community from all around the world, from Korea, from China, from Silicon Valley, from Europe.
And this year, it can all be powered on the blockchain by Block Party, starting with the after party.
And tell me more about this event tonight.
This is Block Party's annual event, the Block Party.
And you guys have a hand in many of the events that are going on this week, right?
Absolutely. Our ticketing platform is intended for both the blockchain community and the mainstream community, and I think that's what New York Blockchain Week's all about. Everybody that's coming in tonight has a ticket to be here, and each ticket is a non-fungible token registered on the Ethereum blockchain. It's an ERC 721.
So what do you think the future of ticketing will bring?
The future that we're excited to announce tonight is not only are we ticketing nightlife events, we've been having successful pilots with Tao Group and Butter Group here, but we're expanding into fan tokens in sports. We're expanding into music festivals. We're opening up ticketing to crypto payments and traditional payments. The goal is to have everybody, all live event fans alike, using the Block Party app. They're all using blockchain technology. They're all using tokens, even if they don't immediately notice it.
Thanks, Lindsay. And to wrap up, let's check back with a fake panda to see how it all ends.
I won't stand for this indignation. I'm going to take my wheelbarrow and leave. I've got more food than your entire country. You just wait until I release my paper in 2 weeks. You actually have a negative gamma. You actually help the honest miners by attacking the network!
But gamma can't be negative though.
Goodbye, fake panda.
You can make your own inferences as to who the kangaroo may be.
It's an 8-lane highway, and he still manages to crash into Merkle Street.
Meh, he actually looks more like a wallaby than a kangaroo.
Well, there goes the Lambo, and that's Cryptotrader for this week, right here from the Magical Crypto Conference. We'll be back with another episode of Cryptotrader, as always, next week.
Cryptotrader is proudly brought to you by eToro. Discover a simpler way to trade and invest in cryptocurrencies and more.